Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first Wednesday webinar. So today's topic, very excited, top 5 mistakes small business owners make and how to avoid them. So the agenda today will be an introduction. I'll introduce myself as well as our co-host, Tracy. We'll go over the top 5 mistakes and how to avoid them. We will have a summary and then any questions. So before I get into our first one, just a quick introduction about myself. I am Cherise Guyton. I am the co-founder and CEO of Vision and Numbers. A little background, educational background. My advanced diploma is in business administration accounting from St. Clair. I also have my honors Bachelor of Commerce from University of Windsor, and I have about 15 years of experience in bookkeeping. My specialties are real estate investing, property management, transportation, and trades. We also have Tracy with us, who is our operations manager and senior bookkeeper located out in Alberta. She also has about 15 years of bookkeeping experience. She is a certified bookkeeper with ICS Canada, and her specialties are hospitality, trades, real estate investors, property management, and service. So we will just dive right in. Number one mistake, mix in business and personal finances. Why is this a problem? It makes it very, very difficult for you to track business transactions. It also makes it very difficult for you to do any kind of reporting. When you mix your business and your personal, you have to remember at the end of the year, you need to do your taxes. So at the end of the year, your accountant or your bookkeeper or yourself, if you're doing your own taxes, you need to clearly identify which transactions were business and which ones were personal. So I'm sure if you think about your debit card or your credit card and think about all the transactions you have on them every month, imagine having to go through a year's worth of data just to be able to file one income tax return. It is going to take you a lot of time, a lot of hours, and it can be it's very avoidable. So tips to avoid this. Open a separate bank account for your business. Easiest way to make that whole situation not even existent is just to have it separate from the jump. If you're able to obtain a credit card in your business's name. Now, I know for some small businesses, especially when you're just starting out, you're not able to get credit yet in your business's name. So what we would suggest is you use your personal card, but allocate it as business transactions only. That way, you know, every single transaction on that card, even though it's in your personal name, was allocated for business. It will make your life so much easier. Number two, overspending. A lot of new business owners will start purchasing items right away that they don't necessarily need right away. That would be equipping a whole office full of all the furniture and everything you need when you haven't even developed a team yet. Jumping right ahead and spending a lot of money on marketing and advertising, but not doing your homework to ensure that the money you're putting out there for that is going to get you the results you need. Very, very important that you do your research. So why is this a problem? It leads to cash flow issues. If you're overspending, you will inevitably get to the situation where you're unable to pay your bills as they become due. It also makes it very, very difficult to plan for future expenses and growth. You might get to a position where all of a sudden you're very, very busy and you need to bring on some help. It can't just be you anymore. And then when you look in your bank account and realize you don't have the funds to be able to bring on more help, it can be very shocking. So very, very important that you do keep track of all of your expenses. So tips to avoid this, prioritize your expenses. And the easiest way to do that is to create a budget. If you have a budget before you start, and that's exactly what we did here, even at Vision and Numbers 2, we had a budget. We made sure we had to figure out, okay, how much is it going to cost to create our website? How much is it going to cost to outfit, you know, a workstation? It was just me to begin with. So I had to get my own workstation, my computer, everything that I need to operate. It's just so, so important that you do create a budget from the jump. And then once you create it, make sure you monitor your actual spending against the budget to make sure you are staying on track. And make sure you do this on a monthly basis. Number 3, not planning for taxes. Why is this a problem? A lot of people will end up with a large tax bill at the end of the year that you cannot afford to pay. This is the most common case with sales tax, HST. For a lot of first year business owners, the government will put you at an annual filing requirement, which means you are not required to file with them on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. So you really don't know how much you're owing until that whole year has gone by. And it's very, very expensive, and it could definitely lead to cash flow issues. It can also lead to late filing with the government, late remittances, which will lead to costly fines, penalties, and interest. They are very unforgiving when it comes to that. So it's very, very important that you do plan for taxes. So tips to avoid this. Make sure you understand your tax obligations. One of the questions we ask when we are doing consultations is, are you registered for HST? Do you know what your requirement is? Is it quarterly? Is it annually? And it's shocking how many owners don't have that answer. They're not even 100% sure if they've even registered for HST. So very, very important that you do understand all of your tax obligations, whether it's corporate income tax, HST, or if you have employees, source deductions. Make sure that you are aware of your deadlines. So it's one thing to understand your obligations, but make sure you do know your filing deadlines. Again, if you are late for those, unnecessary and avoidable costs, right? And another tip that we do give, especially when it comes to HST, make payments throughout the year. They're not going to penalize you for paying anything early. So whatever you can afford or what you anticipate owing for that month or that quarter, make a payment. Again, the easiest, quickest way for you to obtain this information is ensuring that you are using bookkeeping software, and it will tell you very clearly how much you owe for HST for that period of time. Number 4, failure to keep accurate records. Why is this a problem? It's a big, big problem. It's difficult for you to track your expenses. It makes it difficult for you to monitor cash flow. It makes it very difficult and costly to prepare tax returns. So keeping accurate records is crucial for making informed financial decisions. Crucial, crucial, crucial. So tips to avoid this. Ensure you are keeping copies of all expense receipts. Get your paperwork online and out of the shoebox. Very important. There are so many advances in technology right now. You can literally take a picture of your receipt and upload it anywhere you want it to go, whether it's a Google Drive folder, if that's where you're keeping track of all of your expenses and receipts, whether it's your bookkeeping software. Just make sure that you do get it online. That way, if the paper gets lost, if it gets ruined, you are still okay, and you have that peace of mind knowing that you have the documentation you need. Utilize bookkeeping software. Easiest way. You have all of your information in one place. You have all of your expenses. You have all of your revenues. You have all of your assets. If you have credit or loans, you have all of your liabilities all in one place. And if you don't want to do any of those things and would rather just contract it out, hire a bookkeeper. There are a lot of bookkeepers out there, affordable bookkeepers out there that can ensure that you have accurate and complete records. And number 5, ignoring financial statements. Why is this a problem? Your financial statements have so much valuable information for you, and they give you so many insights. The balance sheet, it shows the financial health of your business overall. So it takes into account your assets, it takes into account all of your liabilities, it takes into account the profit that you've had from the prior years as well as your current profit. It shows overall how healthy your company is. And they also identify areas needed for improvement. Profit and loss is a big example of this. It very, very clearly shows you your expenses, how much you are paying. And if you are paying out more than you are getting in your revenues, that is obviously an area that will be needing improvement. So the question is, if you don't have the data, how can you make the data-driven decisions? And the short answer is you can't. Without the data, you cannot make those decisions. You are not making decisions based off of the history of your company, off the transactions of your company. You're usually making decisions based on your gut and based on what you see in your bank account at that given period of time. And unfortunately, you need to dig deeper. You need more than that to make the decisions that you need to make to not only be successful, but protect your company and also be able to grow and scale, because that is everybody's main goal. You don't get into business to just sit there and be stagnant. You get into business because you have a passion for what you're doing. You're excited about what you're doing, but most importantly, you want to be successful at what you are doing. And success and growth usually go hand in hand. So very, very, very important. Tips to avoid this. Record everything in bookkeeping software. That's the number one tip. It's a lot of small business owners, they will not reach out to a bookkeeper or an accountant or get bookkeeping software from the jump because they think it's either going to be too expensive, take up too much time, for whatever reason. Nowadays, it is so much easier. So much, yeah, just easier. It's just easier. Before, even 5 years ago, the most common thing was desktop software. Desktop software for bookkeeping software, you're paying usually over $1,000 upfront, and you're limited to the workstation that you have downloaded it to. Online software now, QuickBooks Online, Xero, all of these, you can do a monthly payment plan. You're not locked into a contract. You can log in and get your financial information anywhere at any time. So you're really taking control of your finances. And for most companies, especially small to medium-sized businesses, that monthly fee is usually not more than $50 to $60 a month. So if you think about everything that you get with that, you're able to put your budget in bookkeeping software. You're able to see all of your expenses, all of your revenues. You're able to have all that data at your fingertips and in an easy to read manner. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. It just makes sense. And the second part of that is once you have that software and you have those financials, make sure you understand them. One of the first things we do when we bring on a new client and we have prepared the first set of financials for them, we schedule a Zoom, because we don't want to just input all the data, spit out the financials, and send it off to you and expect you to understand it. We want to make sure you understand it, and we will not get off that Zoom until we are confident and you are confident that you understand it. It's very important for you to understand basically the balance sheet and the profit and loss. Those are your two big ones. So your profit and loss, your revenues, expenses. As a business owner, you want to know your balance sheet, the overall health. Again, you want to know. You need to understand the differences between assets and liabilities. You need to know what cost of goods sold means. You need to know how much you're spending each month compared to how much you're bringing in. You need to know how to read this data. And the great thing about understanding it is you'll be able to identify more quickly if there is an issue, if something is missing, if something is not recorded properly, or just something you don't understand. Ask those questions. Reach out to somebody who knows how to explain them to you, whether it's somebody that you know personally that is qualified and capable to explain this to you, or reach out to your friendly neighborhood bookkeeper. Most companies, consultations are free. Reach out, get some information. Now there's so much information even on Google, Chat, GPT, all of that. But if you have somebody that you could reach out to and explain it in a manner that you understand it, doesn't that just make the most sense? So get bookkeeping software, ensure you understand those financials. And again, worst case, you don't want to do any of this, hire somebody to do it for you, because there are people out there who enjoy doing bookkeeping. So to summarize, now more than ever, business owners need to ensure they have a complete understanding of the financial health of their business. If COVID has taught us anything, it's to expect the unexpected. You have to be prepared. You have to have a contingency plan. You have to have the data at your fingertips to know if you need to pivot in strategy. It is so, so important. Um, and it's also so much easier to take that control and have that information. So if you want any more information, uh, whether it's regarding anything that we just brought up in this webinar or anything regarding our services here at Vision and Numbers, you can email us at info@visionnumbers.com. Reach out to our website. There is information on there, visionandnumbers.com, or on Facebook, facebook.com/visionandnumbers. Or you can call me directly at 519-984-7305. So thank you very much. And does anybody have any questions?